शलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य जय श्री कृष्णा चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौ भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So, we welcome everyone for today morning discussion from Sri Isho Upanishad. Just one second. Okay. Now just open it. Karo pura. Hare Krishna. So where are we actually? Remove it. अभी लग रही है सुबह हुई है. Good. Yes. Where are we? Ekatvam? That is done, right? Okay. Mantra 7. Yasmin sarvani bhutani Atmaiva budvijanataha Tatra ko mohakaha shoka Ekatvam anupashyataha. Translation purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. One who always sees all living entities as spiritual sparks in quality one with the Lord becomes a true knower of things. What is there as illusion or anxiety for him? So we're going to read from the third last paragraph. Anyone would want to read? Maya or illusion means godless civilization. Mother Medhamni, hand is up. Yeah, go ahead.
Maya, a godless civilization. Oh, sorry. Prabhu from. Oh, okay. Sorry, Prabhu, one second. Prabhu, you have to start from a godless civilization or what?
Yes.
We completed that. Okay, fine. I'll read. A godless civilization arises from illusion, and the result of such a civilization is lamentation. A godless civilization, such as that sponsored by the modern politicians, is always full of anxieties because it may be crushed at any moment. That is the law of nature. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita 7.14, no one but those who surrender at the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord can surpass the stringent laws of nature. Thus, if we wish to get rid of all sorts of illusion and anxiety and create unity out of all diverse interests, we must bring God into all our activities. Can I continue?
So, Maya or illusion means godless civilization. And the result is lamentation. That's what Prabhupada is highlighting here. Only those who surrender lotus feet can overcome the stringent laws of nature. So, what is godless civilization? Godless civilization is like criminals who do not follow the laws of the creation, and thus they become punishable. And what is the punishment they're getting? They're always in anxiety and trouble. That's the point here. All right. Next is a very interesting paragraph. But those who align with the God, their interest is one. Anyone else would like to read? Anyone from here would like to read? But you'll have to get onto online because online forum. Na? All right, go ahead.
Results of our activities must be used to serve the interest of the Lord and not for any other purpose. Only by serving the Lord's interest can we perceive the uh, Atma Bhuta interest mentioned herein. The Atma Bhut interest mentioned in the mantra and the Brahma Bhut interest mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita 18.54 are one and the same. The Supreme Atma or the soul is the Lord Himself, and the minute Atma is a living entity. The Supreme Atma or Paramatma alone maintains all the individuals' minute beings. For the Supreme Lord who wants to derive pleasure out of their affection, the Father extends himself through his children and maintains them in order to derive pleasure. If the children obey the Father's will, family affairs will run smoothly with one interest and a pleasing atmosphere. The same situation is transcendentally arranged in the absolute family of the Parabrahman, the Supreme Spirit.
All right. So a very simple example is given. If the family members align, the family functions or activities go smoothly. But in case the interest differs, then it leads to conflicts. We all would have seen that. So I'm not speaking much on this because we have discussed, we have dedicated 2 sessions just to discuss this principle. Let's conclude this. Anyone else would like to read the last paragraph? Pass on your thing to them. Go ahead. Last paragraph.
The Parabrahman is as much a person as the individual entities. Neither the Lord nor the living entities are impersonal. Such transcendental personalities are full of transcendental bliss, knowledge, and life eternal. That is the real position of spiritual existence. And as soon as one is fully cognizant of this transcendental position, he at once surrenders unto the lotus feet of Supreme Being, Sri Krishna. But such a Mahatma or great soul is very rarely seen because such transcendental realization is achieved only after many, many births. Once it is attained, however, there is no longer any illusion or lamentation, or the miseries of material existence, or birth and death, which are all experienced in our present life. That is the information we get from this mantra Shri of Shri Upanishad.
Hare
Ishopanishad.
Krishna. So here, the nature of this advanced devotee or Uttamadhikari was discussed in text number 6 and 7. Now the inconceivable nature of the Lord would be described in text number 8. Sapariyaga shukram makayam afranam. Okay, it's a little difficult, but go ahead, try. Sapariyaga shukram makayam avranam. Ashnaviram shuddham apapavitham. Kavir manishi paribhu swayambhu. Yathat yato arthan vedha chasvatibhya samabhaya. Many of you got lost half the way only. I didn't hear the sound only half the way. All right, all right. Okay. Oh, let's recite once more. Maybe together. Sapariyaga shukram akayam avranam ashnaviram shuddham apapavidham kavir manishi paribhu swayambhu yathat yathorthan virta chasvativya samabhaya. So when you have these words together, it has to be sang together. You can't break that word. That's how they club together. Saha, that person. Pariyagat, must know in fact. Shukram, omnipotent. Akayam, kaya means sharir. Akaya means without sharir. So unembodied. Avranam, without any reproach. Ashnaviram, without any veins. Shuddham, antiseptic. Apapavidham, prophylactic. Kavihi, omniscient. Manishihi, philosopher. Paribhu, the greatest of all. Swayambhu, self-sufficient. Yat at yataha, just in pursuance of. Arthan, desirables. Vayadhat, awards. Shashvatibhya, immemorial. Samabhya, time. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Such a person must know, in fact, the greatest of all, who is unembodied, without a body, omniscient, who knows past, present, and future, and who knows everything about everything, beyond reproach, which means beyond correction, without veins. जब unembodied बोल दिया तो without veins कहने का मतलब ही नहीं बनता. अब जो शरीर नहीं है तो फिर नसें कहाँ से बजेंगी? आया ना? तो ये तो गड़बड़ होगी ना? Composition mistake, isn't it? Who is unembodied? How can you say he is without veins? Which is understood. Unembodied का तो जिसका शरीर नहीं है. To say भूत is without veins. जब तूने उसको भूत बोल ही दिया है तो veins होने का मतलब कहाँ से हुआ? To be precise, not भूत, प्रेत. The moment you have in Sanskrit, if somebody has been addressed as preta, to say he's without veins is illogical, because preta means only who does not have a body. Okay. Pure, uncontaminate. The self-sufficient philosopher who is avoiding everyone's desire since time immemorial. So, very interesting and a little tricky verse. Let's take a look at the purport. The very first paragraph, Prabhupada talks about Akayam and Ashnaviram, without body and without veins. What does it mean? Let's take a look. Here is a description of the transcendental and eternal form of the absolute personality of Godhead. So when he said Akayam, it does not have a body. It's just like when it is said, he is Nirguna. What does Nirguna means? Raise your hand. Who knows the meaning of Nirguna? Yes, Ravi Shekhar Prabhu.
Unaffected from the
No. Nirguna. I mean, one way is okay, but not exactly. And he was saying Nirguna. Yes, Parag Prabhu. Because the word guna is coming, therefore you are making these guesses. Okay. So, Nirguna. Yes, Mother Rashmi. Oh, wait.
without
I'll have
qualities.
to switch on my speaker here. I can't hear your sound then. So, speaker
So
is. Yes, go ahead now.
Nirguna without any qualities.
Yeah, Nirguna means without, again, not without any qualities, without material qualities. You very well sounded like Mayavadis. Sorry, I'm joking. What I mean by that, this is what the Mayavadi says. So, without any material qualities. So, Nirguna. So, Akaya means without body. So, when it said Nirguna, is without any material qualities, which means he has spiritual qualities. So, when it said Akaya, which means he doesn't have material body. He has spiritual body. You getting that? Okay. So, the Supreme Lord is not formless, because this conclusion would be the Lord is formless, but he's not formless. He has his own transcendental form. Satchit Ananda Vigraha. Vigraha means form, na? Which is not at all similar to those of the mundane world. The living entities in this world have their forms embodied by the material nature, and they work like any material machines. Wow, क्या बात कही है. Would anyone like to explain this? The living entities in this world have their forms given to them by material nature, and they work like any material machines, like a motor. Let's say everything has its own particular purpose to fulfill, right? Like this. I mean, I don't give too much clue here, but anyone would like to give an explanation to this now? We have given machines, we are given a body, and this body is function by the material nature, and this body functions like material machines. Like we have a computer, we have a printer, different, like a camera, it functions like that. What does it mean? Yes, Prabhu, go ahead. Give it to him so he can speak on this. Unmute करके बोलिए.
Like means we get the body based on the 3 gunas.
वो तो clear हो गया.
And all the things are done by the Prakriti. We are just
okay, everything is done by Prakriti. But the point is, they work like any material machines. What does it mean? That's my focus here. They work like material machines. Yes, Ritesh Prabhu?
So, as machine requires source and some energy to run. Otherwise, it won't work. It was just.
So, हमारी energy कहाँ से आ रही है भाई साहब?
So we are getting the source energy from the soul and the super soul, and after.
Okay. all right. Good. Think more a little deeper. You're thinking of electrical connection right now. I'm not asking a question about electrical connection. Okay, Rishikesh. Material machines. It functions like material machine. What does it mean?
Like we are functioning aimlessly without any goal.
अच्छा, स्मार्टफोन का कोई पर्पस नहीं है क्या? तुम तो बेइज्जती करती स्मार्टफोन की. कैमरे का पर्पस नहीं है क्या? कैमरे का भी पर्पस है. क्या कह रहे हो तुम, प्रांजल प्रभु? Your answers are becoming aimless right now.
So Prabhuji, we have 10 senses by which we can do sense gratification, or we can use them for God realization. So to maintain these 10 senses with the digestive system, nervous system, whole system, this is a machine. And by this is everything else is the parts of the organ of the body which are helping us to maintain this body. And these 5-10 senses are which are helping us to achieve our desired objective. So this is a machine, and maybe used for human realization, God realization, otherwise for sense gratification, these 10 senses.
Okay, so what you're trying to say, the body is acting as material machine. It's functioning. It has different things of input and output. It operates like that. That's how the Sankhya analysis is. It has an input devices, as output devices. You take food, then next morning you get an output. It depends on if you have a constipation or not. Like that input output it functions. Okay, input and output, material machines like this. Okay. What else? Okay, hands are coming up here. Quickly pass on the mics. We'll take a few things. तुम लोग यार बहुत ज़्यादा फैले हुए हो. जल्दी करो. Sonam and Nikhil.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Oh, sorry. I have to hear online answers, then I have to turn on my speaker again. Yes, Nikhil Prabhu.
So Prabhu, first of all, I mean, the first thing is living entities in this world are embodied in material nature. So I would like to quote one verse here is that Bhumi Rapo Nalo Ayu. So we have got the body from Prakriti. I mean, we have composed of this.
Correct.
And second thing is what here it says has been said that material machine. So like machine has its life. I mean, it will function for some time and then it will start decay. So same is
okay. So collapse. It will collapse. Okay, wonderful. So it breaks down. Okay, wonderful. Anything else onto that? Fine. Mother Medhavni and then Ravi Prabhu.
Hey Krishna Prabhu, I'm so excited to answer this because I was just hearing Prabhupada's lecture. Prabhupada was saying a pig, a pig when he acquires a material body, the pig wants to eat stool and the pig thinks it's enjoying eating the stool.
Correct. Go ahead, complete it.
Yeah. So similarly, according to the we get
complete the answer. तुमने पिक को glorify कर दिया. आप पूरा complete तो करो यार. I thought you are about to complete what Prabhupada said. Go ahead. Yes, Prabhupada start saying that. But what does it mean?
Yeah. So we have got this material body according to the modes that we have acquired. So if we are in the body of if we have the tamasic mode, then we prepare our next body according to the qualities that we have got now.
You lost your track. Fine. Ravi Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Material machine means it's made up of different components, and each component is dependent on other functions of other components. So each component cannot work like an entire machine. So there is a dependency, interdependent. Yeah.
Fine, thank you. The point that I was looking for largely was just every machine has its purpose. You cannot interchange that. So there is a camera which is used for its purpose. You cannot change it. Similarly, there are 8.4 million machines, and each of them comes with their own operations and functions. An example of Prabhupada saying the pig is only going to find its joy in eating stool, but not in halwa. That's the point. Similarly, a human body, within that also a male body and female body have their own operations. You cannot change it. Now, artificially, we might turn this camera into a mic by, putting a mic, something extra. That's what we are trying to do with the body these days. But by nature, it acts as a machine, it has its own purpose to fulfill. Are you getting the point? So that's the meaning why it's a. And another point was, input and output. There is certain input and the output it produces, like any machine will produce. That's the point. The psychological, physiological, and anatomical structure of the body of a living must have a mechanical construction with veins and so forth in the embodiment, which all of you mentioned. But in the transcendental body of the Lord, there is nothing like veins. It is clearly stated here that he is unembodied. Very interesting to do this analysis now. Now we have got this material machine. It has its own purpose. Whatever its purpose is defined for, it's only going to work that way. For example, it's a car. Car has a purpose to fly on the road, not fly in the sky, right? Its purpose is defined by the manufacturer. That's it. Now, when a car can only fly on the road, has a limitation, which means it cannot fly. It can only do something, but not everything. But when it is a subject, when it is a discussion of the Supreme Lord, then there is no restriction like that. Therefore, it said, what is that? Premanjana Chirita Bhakti Vilochanena. No, that's the verse, right? No, that's not what is that? He can eat with his eyes. He can do Angani Yasya Sakalendriya. So that's the point. So we have that limitation, but the large form does not have limitation, can do anything and everything. All the purposes can be fulfilled from any of his senses. But in the transcendental body of the Lord, there's nothing like wings. It is clearly stated here that is unembodied. That means there is no difference between his body and soul, nor does he accept a body by the laws of nature as we do. In the material concept of body life, the soul is different from the gross embodiment and subtle mind. The Supreme Lord is apart from any such compartmentalized arrangement. You got a compartmentalized arrangement? That's the point. Just like a male body, and female body, they have own different purposes. Female body can procreate, and the male body can support that, but not vice versa. Compartmentalized. But look at Vishnu. He glances also, the procreation happens, right? And from his navel also procreation happens. That's the point. So not compartmentalized. There is nothing like a difference of body and mind in the Supreme Lord. He is a complete whole, and his mind and body and he himself are one and the same. We have three-level existence: body, subtle body, and the soul. For the Lord, it's all one. Now, next word. So this was about Akayam and Ashnaviram. Now, Prabhupada will speak about what is Shukram. The word Shukram means omnipotent, all powerful. Okay. Nikhil Prabhu, go ahead, read the next paragraph.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. In the Brahma Samhita 5.1, there is a similar description of the Supreme Lord. He is described there as Satchidanand Vigraha, which means that he is the eternal form fully representing transcendental existence, knowledge, and bliss. As such, he does not require a separate body or mind as we do in material existence. The Vedic literature clearly states that the Lord's transcendental body is completely different from ours. Thus, he is sometimes described as formless. This means that he has no form like ours and that he is devoid of a form we can conceive of. In the Brahma Samhita 5.32, it is further stated that with each and every part of his body, he can do the work of the other senses. This means that the Lord can walk with his hands, accept things with his legs, see with his hands and feet, eat with his eyes, etc. in the Shruti mantras, it is also said that although the Lord has no hands and legs like ours, he has a different type of hands and legs by which he can accept all that we offer him and run faster than anyone. These points are confirmed in this eighth mantra through the use of word Shukram, omnipotent.
Hare
The-
Krishna. Any example of omnipotency of the Lord? You say Lord is omnipotent. So can you give any example of the omnipotency of the Lord? Huh? Sunlight.
Sun, he is giving his energy to all the living beings, to all over the world.
So
Omnipotent.
no. Omnipotency is all powerful, omnipotent. He can do everything. No. Omnipotency. Yes, Agnel Prabhu. One second. Yes, Bolo.
Offering that we,
So what happens?
they said that Lord each presides. That's
Okay.
why whatever we offer is still there.
We are close, but a little off track. What is omnipotency? Yes.
He has 6 opulence.
Okay.
So
So going back to the example of prasadam, so we are not omnipotent. How? Unless we take food from our hand and put in our mouth, we cannot eat it. If let's say your mother has to offer that food to your photo, can you eat it? But when we offer it to the photo of the Lord, Lord eats it. That is omnipotency. And the second factor, which we already discussed about, he can do anything from his senses. That was the meaning of his being transcendent, not compartmentalized. So what is an example of omnipotency? When you offer it, he can have it, even though he is not personally present. That's a point. So when it is said Lord omnipotent, so when, in fact, you talk about any tradition, either be Christianity, Islam, any religion for that reason, they all accept their Lord to be omnipotent. If your Lord is not omnipotent, what is the meaning of being Lord? First of all, if the Lord is omnipotent, what does it mean being omnipotent? He can do everything. When he can do everything, then why should we not offer food to the Lordship? Because this way, now where is the question of offering food when they don't have any figure of the Lord only? I mean, kuch to representation hona chahiye. Now, when they don't have a representation, are they not limiting the Lord? How can be omnipotent then? When you're saying the Lord cannot have any form, I mean, it doesn't make sense. Now you offer food to, let's say, Bible. So to put any restriction or any condition, that is what is being described here, would not suit the definition of the Supreme Lord. Supreme Lord means Akayam. Supreme Lord means omnipotent. That is Shukram. That's the point here. All right. This paragraph ho gaya, right? Next paragraph. Anyone like to read the next paragraph? Is about Lord's Shri Vigraha. Mother Rashmi, go ahead.
The Lord's worshipable form, Arka Vigraha, which is installed in temples by authorized acharyas who have realized the Lord in terms of Mantra 7, is non-different from the original form of the Lord. The Lord's original form is that of Sri Krishna, and Sri Krishna expands himself into an unlimited number of forms, such as Baldev, Ram, Narsimha, and Varaha. All of these forms are one and the same personality of Godhead. Similarly, the Arka Vigraha worshipped in temples is also an expanded forms of
It
the
is
Lord.
Archa, not Arka, Archa Vigraha.
Okay. Archa.
Well,
By
Arka was
worshipping the
Continue.
By worshipping the Archa Vigraha, one can at once approach the Lord, who accepts the service of a devotee by his omnipotent energy. The Archa Vigraha of the Lord descends at the request of the Acharyas, the holy teachers, and works exactly in the original way of the Lord by virtue of the Lord's omnipotence. Foolish people who have no knowledge of Sri ISOPANISHAD or any of the other Shruti mantras consider the Archa Vigraha which is worshipped by pure devotees to be made of material elements. This form may be seen as material by the imperfect eyes of foolish people or Kanishta Adhikaris, but such people do not know that the Lord, being omnipotent and omniscient, can transform matter into spirit and spirit into matter as he desires.
Thank you. My question to all of you now. How would you justify that Lord is present in the deity? Point number 1, point number 2, point number 3. Give 3 claims. People argue, oh, you have taken a stone and you're worshipping it. Does it mean the Lord is everywhere? Lord is everywhere. So which means if he's in this stone, well, yes. That means he's also in the stone on which I'm standing. Then you say no. Because how can you say yes? I mean, it's an aparad, isn't it? And that's how we are tricked into it. So how, I mean, it's been discussed already, Lord is omnipotent. Everything is possible for him. And he can do anything through any of his energies. There is no compartmentalized for the Lord like him, like us. So how do you say deity worship is bona fide? Don't give the claim which is understood that it is mentioned with the scriptures. Except for that, start building up the points, because that is already there. And asking largely for those who do not accept deity worship. So how would you argue, or how would you present your point? That's the question here. Yes, give the mic. Point number 1, 2, 3. What are your points? Go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Unmuted.
Yeah. So, like, we can give one example of currency note. So there is same paper, which like normal paper is there and currency note paper is same.
Correct.
It's authorized by government. Then we can't like tear it off. Similarly, like DT's metal may be same, but it is authorized by here the process given that Pran Pratishtha, which is by pure devotees. That's why we can't stand on it.
So it is authorized through Veda scriptures and acharyas, great personalities. So therefore, we accept it, although it seems same. That is very wonderful. Prabhupada gives an example, like a post box also. He would give an example. Although they look alike. So correct. One is authorized by the government. Good. What else? Yes, Anshul Prabhu. Haan, bolo.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, do not know. So as we know that in air there is water vapor H2O, but we cannot drink like sip. We have to have a glass in which there is a proper water and we can drink. Similarly, there are many stones all around world, but there should be a particular place where it can be installed and done pranapradishta, and where we can do worship. So similarly, we have to.
Yeah, the concept was correct, but you kind of got a little off track of it. The concept of the water is present in the air. Water is present in the air, but you cannot perceive that unless it becomes of the form which is perceivable to you. So Lord is omnipotent, but we cannot see him through our senses. So H2O is available, but we don't know how to extract that H2O from the air. So that same omnipotent Lord is present everywhere, but when he's given a shape of deity form, then we can understand and we can engage in our devotional service. Because when that H2O from the air turns into a water in a physical form, then we can take advantage of it. That's the point about it. So very good example. Prabhupada makes that point also. Wonderful omnipotency of that. What else? Any other points about this? Omnipotent Lord. What else can you think? The Lord is in. Okay, let's counter argue for that. Some counter argument. Any counter arguments? How would you like to argue against deity worship? Art is just deity worship. So you're worshipping this stone. I'm standing on the stone also. Well, that's okay. Authorization wala baat ho gaya. Why Lord has to come in deity form? That point has mentioned, because we can perceive, and otherwise we cannot perceive. Wonderful. Two wonderful concepts have been discussed. Any other arguments against deity worship? And then we can look for answers for it. You say your Lord is all powerful. I will go and break your Lord. Let's see how he can protect himself. There's a third argument. That's what the Islamic invaders did that. How would you argue against that? Yes, Ravi Prabhu. बोलिए.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So when someone said that if Lord is all powerful, then they destroy the temples and the arch vigraha, and they try to say that actually they are not. But point is that Lord come in the form because of our needs, so that we could perceive Him, not for their existence in God existence only in that arch vigraha. So even if someone try to destroy or try to show that He is not that much powerful, so it's for us not His original existence, God
Okay,
existence.
give a little more solid evidence. This answer should be given by our social media team. तुम लोगों ने वीडियो बनाई थी ना, तुम्हें जवाब नहीं बता रहे, तुम वीडियो बना के पब्लिक को डालते हो, खुद सुनते नहीं हो, हाँ? I mean, I had a full-on session on this topic.
In that lecture and in that talk, you have mentioned like first of all, the thing from which the means Archa Vigraha is made is of the material elements. So you also give the example that for the any holy scriptures, if we try and burn it, so it will burn. So it doesn't mean that it does not have that spiritual value or that spiritual significance. But as it is made up of this material element, so it can be break up.
So point is, because it is made up of matter, it is meant to get disintegrated. Because it has taken us some spiritual value for us, it doesn't make it eternal. So those who say your Lord exists in this idol, prove it. We'll try to break it. If it breaks, it doesn't exist. All right. If a fire is set to your book, the holy book, because you think that's the word of Lord, it is spiritual, it's not material, would it burn or not? It will burn. So your claim is refuted. All right. Anything else on this apart from these three arguments? Yes, boliye.
When we go to the common store, we don't need the inner peace. But when we go to the temple, which is as mentioned by the Prabhuji, the authorized deity, we get inner peace. Not for everyone, but for the very rare people, they get the inner peace.
They get the inner peace. Hari Bol. Wonderful. Peace formula. Anything else on this? Okay. Madhavita, do you have something? Yeah. This is a fourth point. We have discussed 3 points.
Yeah. Prabhu, it's not a very logical.
Wait a second. Yes, Poli.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhu, Danat Pranams. Prabhu, this is not a logical answer, but I heard it in Prabhupada's lecture that Prabhupada is saying that, if you don't have faith, Prabhu, I'm not able to see you for some reason. Is it? Okay. So I was just saying that, Prabhupada mentions in the lecture that God is not your father's servant, he needs to prove that, I exist in the deity form. And then this devotee asks Prabhupada, no, not a devotee, somebody else asks Prabhupada that, in the part of the same conversation, Prabhupada says that,
Make the concept, Madhu, quickly. Yes.
Yeah. So the first point is, the Lord is not anyone's servant, that, he needs to appear and prove himself. Secondly, Prabhupada mentions that when somebody else asks the question, Prabhupada says that if there is no Lord, if there is no actually Lord in the deity form, but we are still worshipping even a material form, there is no Krishna in the Lord. Still, when we die and when we go back home, that time we realize that, all this while we were worshipping our deity.
That's a side point. Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So that's what
so my question here is specific about the deities. You're discussing right now about the process.
Deity only. So how it was answered by Prabhupada in context of this question only. So this person says that.
No, I know that the discussion. The point was, you say Krishna exists and you're chanting and everything. It was about the process, not only specific deity worship. It was about the whole process, like that. You have anything else, Prashantpu? Go ahead. You have other thing? Question. Okay, go ahead. Wait a second.
It's a question related to deities. Just like we all have human form of body. So we made Lord as human form of body to worship. Amen.
Oh, wonderful. So in fact, all scripture says, even Bible says, the man was created in the image of the Lord, like this. So that question comes now, that's a discussion about personalism and impersonalism. That's a little again off the discussion of deity worship. But if you look at all scripture says, the man is created in the image of the Lord, like that. So how do we understand that? Where do we begin with? We have to put some faith somewhere, na? So every religion puts their faith in their respective religious text, and all religious text talks about it. And that's the irony. Despite making that claim, they don't accept the Lord could have a form. Now, why they don't accept the Lord could have a form? It just, if I have it, how can he has it? How can he and I look, similar? And when you make a person formless, then there's no question of seva. What would you serve? So that's the concept comes, then I merge into him, then I become him. Like that, those are points for further experience. Pranjal, do anything?
So I just wanted to add 1-2 points which I've heard from you only in my earlier classes. First is, if someone is attacking the deity of the Lord, God is not obliged. He should protect himself. You are not a great personality, he should come and protect himself. Secondly, we know about the Vatsal devotee protect, because Lord is in that form.
The purpose of deity is to accept seva. Okay, that's the point. Wonderful. Let's take 1 or 2 paragraphs. Where were we? Mother Yagya, you want to read further?
Pranam, Prabhuji. Yeah, I had a question. Maybe I'll read further, then we can take.
No, go ahead with the question first.
Okay, Prabhuji, there's an argument when you mentioned about the material form of Lord, that we cannot, like, it can be burnt because it's made of the material form. So to that, an argument could be added. For example, there was some event in the temple Mayapur where the deity of Lord Narsimha was shown and the Sheshnag was moving, and many people, they develop their faith because of such.
That is electric triggered. Okay. That is not Sheshnag moving. That was just to create some 3D effect on the altar.
So how do we justify such kind of people? This
Justify
argument?
what?
So many people, they develop their faith based on such videos, such.
And when they would hear this answer, they lose their faith also. What do you do about that? You only tell them open Bhagavad Gita and read Bhagavad Gita, then only faith will come. This is amazing how we capture these things. Become excited. I can tell you my first hand experience. This is during Mayapur Yatra.
Eyes also, like tears flowing down the eyes of Panchatattva also. That video also was circulated during
So for this one we were personally present, and I was sitting in the temple hall only when suddenly a big uproar started in the Radha Madhav temple hall. It was right before Guru Puja. It was around 6:45. Kya hua? Maharaj was also sitting. Maharaj was just opposite, like this. We were sitting and chanting, and suddenly devotees started running here and there. And then we got to know, it was long ago. So we also got, what happened? And so, see, Radha Mata's footprint. Like this, they begin to talk about it. And suddenly the news spread like this, oh, Radha Mata's footprint. And they had to barricade that area, And then the Guru Puja, everything had to continue like this. Then there was a class that morning, Bhagavatam class by Janani Vas Prabhu. So that day you had the maximum attendance in Bhagavatam class, because Janani Vas Prabhu, Prabhupada had appointed him initially for the worship of Shri Radha Madhav. So everyone was thinking that today Janani Vas Prabhu is going to speak something about that Radha Madhav's footprint is there, Radha Madhav's footprint is there. He finished whole lecture and he did not even once brought that topic, as if it doesn't exist only. Everyone was so disappointed after the whole lecture. And everyone was sitting at the edge of the seat. Chaitanya Prabhu is going to share some very secret rasa today, some past classes today. The whole lecture got ended. And everyone was like, yaar, kuch bole nahi. Prabhuji ne kuch bola hi nahi. Finally, there was this one Russian lady or some American lady, whoever she was, she couldn't resist. She said, Prabhuji, thank you for a nice class. But all of us were waiting that he will speak about the incident that happened today morning. Please tell us. And Janani was, what happened? Something happened today? बोले यार तुम पुजारी हो तुम्हें नहीं पता. तो बोले Prabhuji, don't you know? Oh, somebody was saying that there are Radharani's footprint and Krishna's footprint. Yes, Prabhuji, you never spoke about it. We want to know about it. Well, what is there to speak? Please tell us it is true or not. And now Janani Prabhu says a very profound answer. Any guesses? What would you like to say? Let's see it. So they're saying this is the footprints and the big footprints. Huh? There's big footprints of, there are two footprints there like this. Right next to the corner of, जहाँ नरसिम्हा वो मिलता है कवच, वो ब्रह्मचारी बैठा रहता है संदूक के पास, right outside of it, right at the corner. So if a question is asked, Janani's Prabhu also saw, we also saw, everyone saw. So, and Janani will say, oh, about that footprint? All right. What would you say? What potentially can you say? Let's see what would you like to say? But I was like stunned with his answer. Really? ऐसा भी होता है? Yes, Ritesh, let's hear your story.
Yes, Prabhuji. So means.
Oh, sorry. 1 second.
Prabhuji might have mentioned like already Radha, we are worshipping him, and we do not focusing on him every day, and we are just
fine. What else? Other thing. Well, it's a difficult thing for you to think about it. I mean, he was right, but to think about what he said, that could be very difficult. So he said, oh, well, that's a regular thing. Radha Madhav every night dances here. What's the big deal? You happen to see the footprint today here. We happen to see that. But Radha Madhav is dancing every night. This is their temple. This is their courtyard. They dance every night. Everyone was like stunned. They felt like, for the first time, they felt like Radha Madhav is really standing. You get the point, na? For the first time, they felt, oh, Radha Madhav is still there. Well, not still there, is actually there. Oh, ये जो idol वाला concept है ना, like we were Ekatma, we were speaking on Mayavadi concept. Similarly, this idol, not a form, not a lord. This conscience is very strongly rooted. And then we say, oh, Radha Madhav had been dancing from the beginning. This is their house, this is their palace in the courtyard. It's a different thing. You happen to see their footprint for the first time. सब बोले ठीक है आप कुछ नहीं पूछेंगे. All right, हम कक्षा को भी यहीं समाप्त करते हैं. जगतगुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. श्री ईशोपनिषद की जय. Thank you all for joining in. So we were reading on the mantra 8, 1.5 pages over, and we'll continue this inconceivable qualities of the Lord which are described in this particular verse. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama.